Aaron Thomas, last name is Thomas.
Thank you. You may be seated.
May I? Coach Thomas, how old
Yes.
are you today?
I am 57 years old.
And what city and state are you presently residing in?
Right now, I'm living in Seekonk, Massachusetts with my parents.
What's your current employment status?
Retired.
And we learned in this trial that you were essentially separated from the North Kingston School Department in 2021, correct?
Correct.
And from that period in 2021 right up until today, have you had occasion to have any other forms of employment?
I have. I've worked several different jobs.
There was a reference in one of the text messages between individuals in this case that at one point you were working at a Lowe's. Can you talk about that?
Sure. I did work at Lowe's from, I believe, 2022, January of 2022, until about April of 2022.
And right now you're not working at all. Have you experienced any difficulty in maintaining jobs?
Extreme difficulty.
Can you explain it?
Yes, with this press coverage being all over social media, it seems that everywhere that I get a job, I hold that job for a couple of months, and then the people that I work for or my bosses put me in a position where they're like, there's too much out there. There's too much information out in the public, and we will hire you back only after the trial is over.
How long have you not been working for?
The last job I had, I worked until this past October, so I've been out about 6 months.
Fair to say you'll never return to teaching?
Yes, I'm never going back.
Let's talk a little bit about your family. I know you mentioned your parents. What's mom's name and age?
Sure, my mother's name is Gail. She's 78.
I assume she's retired?
She's retired, yes.
How about dad?
Dad is Donald. He's 86.
And when you say you're living with the parents, these are the individuals?
Yes, I've gone back to live with them now for the simple reason that my father has had several medical issues this past year.
You have any siblings?
I do. I have one brother, Scott, who's here today.
Tell me a little bit about Scott.
He's older than me, 59, is from Raynham, Massachusetts. He's made the trip down today, which has been great. And we grew up together. Both of us played college football. I have a long relationship within sports together.
Coach Thomas, what's your marital status?
I was married in 1997. Is when I got married to Cheryl Dakotas Thomas, who's a guidance counselor also at North Kingstown, now retired. And I was divorced in 2012. And then common law married back together. We were able to get back together about 2 years later in 2014. And that went until about 2024.
So in one way or another, you and Cheryl were together from 97 to 2024, minus those 2 years?
Correct.
Do you and Cheryl have any kids together?
We do. I have a son named Dylan. He's 26. And I have a daughter named Brandy, who's 24. My son is actually a second grade teacher in Vermont. He went to the University of Vermont. He stayed out there. He loved it. And my daughter, who's 24, is a physician's assistant. And she just finished her training through Johnson & Wales last year. And she moved out to Virginia for a nice job opportunity.
Quick question about your son, Dylan. One of the witnesses mentioned off the cuff yesterday that he had health issues. Do you remember that coming up?
Yes. He was on the basketball team, came in as a freshman, and then he experienced massive headaches, all kinds of problems, and we had a bunch of different medical experts look at him, and they couldn't determine what it was. And eventually, after about a year in high school, it was determined that he had Lyme disease. And he had it worse than we ever knew because it was diagnosed so late. So in his particular case, he missed all of his sophomore, junior, and senior years of high school. He had to be homeschooled. And then eventually he was granted a fifth year of high school. And he did come back for the fifth year in high school and play basketball. But he was unable to play basketball during those years. And very thankful that we found a doctor in Connecticut that determined that he had neurological Lyme. So once they treated him for that neurological Lyme, he did get better, but it took a long period of time to do that.
But it's fair to say that as we're here today together, Dylan's made a full recovery?
He has. He's doing great. So proud of him.
Let's talk a little bit about your educational background. Generally speaking, where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Seekonk, Massachusetts. I went to Seekonk High School, graduated in 1985.
When you were a student at Seekonk High School, did you have occasion to play any sports?
I did. I was a three-sport athlete. I played football, basketball, and baseball.
And what years did you play football?
Football, I played 10 through 12. Basketball, 9 through 12. And baseball, 9 through 12.
Did you hold any leadership positions on any of these teams?
Yes, I was captain of the baseball and basketball team.
When you graduated Seekonk High School in 1995, did you go on to college?
I did.
Where did you go first?
I went to the University of Rhode Island, and the primary purpose was to play college football.
We'll circle back to college sports in a minute, but did you graduate URI?
I did in 1989,
And what degree did you obtain?
bachelor's in education.
Did you ultimately go on to another institute of higher education?
I did, which is required for most teachers, is you have to get a master's degree. So I went on to Providence College, and
Did you get the master's degree?
I did. It
What
took a
year?
long period of time to get a master's in education because of having kids and, the way life is, but I did get one in 2004 from Providence College.
And is that how it goes with some teachers? In other words, they graduate college, degree in education, they start teaching, and then they work towards the master's?
Exactly. It's you're usually required to do about 6 credits a year, so at that pace, it's going to take you 5 years to get your master's degree.
Took you a bit longer.
A little bit longer.
Let's talk about college sports. You said that the purpose of going to URI was to play college football.
Yes,
Did you in fact play?
I did. I played my first 2 years, freshman and sophomore, and unfortunately, I got injured. And believe it or not, at the time, I was kind of small for for a college lineman, so I realized the injury that I was done with my football career.
At some point, you started working full-time as a teacher.
Correct.
Which municipality did you start your career with?
So I started in North Kingstown in September of 1989. I went there primarily because they had a freshman football coaching job opening, and in turn, they let me sub for that year.
You
So I
mean
got
as a substitute teacher?
substitute teacher for the entire year.
Do you remember what classes you would have started out as a sub in?
I actually, and they had me in every day, and I would sub in any area, from shop to social studies to English. It didn't matter.
How long did you serve initially at North Kingston?
So that first year was a sub. Then I was hired that next summer in 1990 to be a history teacher
Also at North Kingston?
at
High
North
School?
Kingstown High School.
And how long did you stay there for?
I was there for 2 years, and the way the process works is when you're the low man that comes in, you may get bumped. So in my case, I went down to one of the middle schools, Davisville Middle School, for 4 years.
After 2 or 3 years at North Kingston High School, 4 years at Davisville Middle School, where did you go next?
In a weird scenario, I came back for a year for the high school, then there was another big budget cut, so I went back to Davisville Middle School again. But once I finally reached 1997, I was at the high school for good. So I went from the high school from 1997 till 2021.
And fair to say you had occasion to work at both facilities, what we've been colloquially calling the old school as well as the new school?
Yes.
As a high school teacher, are there certain subjects that you are certified to teach?
I'm certified to teach history, social studies, and I have 2 minors that I can teach, which are political science and sociology.
We heard testimony in the case that you also taught communications.
Yes, so in 1997, the communications program was born at the school. As part of a bond issue, the town went out and put about $2 to $3 million into the computer upgrades in the schools, and one of it was to create this program, a video editing program. I had a little background in it by going through books and reading about it and making highlight films for previous teams I had coached. And in 1997, I was approached about starting a program in North Kingstown, and it was very successful.
Did you in fact start the communications program?
I did.
And from 1997, when you started the communications program, up until your separation in 2021, did you continuously work as a communications teacher?
Yes.
Did you teach any other style of course during that time period?
One time I taught a history class. That was it.
But for the most part, you were a comm or communications teacher?
Correct.
And just to remind you, you can hear the AC just
Yes.
kicked on. There's been a lot of complaints about audio in here, so lean forward and speak up, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Moving off of your experience as a teacher, let's talk about coaching experience. When did you first get involved with coaching? I think you mentioned a moment ago when you got out of college and you took your first job at North Kingstown High School. That was as an assistant football coach.
Correct. And that was in 1989. So I came in as a freshman football coach. I would coach at North Kingstown for the next 10 years in football. So
Okay.
from 1989 to 1999, I was an assistant football coach.
From 89 to 99, while serving as an assistant football coach, did you coach any other sports at North Kingstown High School?
I coached basketball at North Kingstown High School starting in 1993 as the JV coach from 93 to 97, and then eventually took over as the head coach in 1997.
So it sounds like initially, for the beginning of your career, you coached two sports overlapping, football and basketball.
Yes, I initially coached basketball too at Seekonk High School from 1989 to 1993.
At any points in your career, have you ever coached any sports other than football or basketball?
No.
So focusing on just the basketball coaching experience, in '89 you started off at Seekonk High School,
Correct, as the JV coach.
and how long did you do that for?
4 years.
That takes us to 1993.
Yes.
In 1993, that's when you first began coaching basketball at North Kingston.
Yes.
You were already involved in the football coaching program.
And teaching in the building, so it made it a lot easier.
How long did you serve as the junior varsity coach of the North Kingstown High School basketball team?
For 4 years.
So that's from 93 to 97?
Yes.
And then in 1997, you became the North Kingstown High School varsity basketball coach?
Yes, the head coach.
Did you hold that position continuously from 1997 all the way up until 2021?
Yes, 24 straight years.
During those 24 straight years, did you coach any other sports?
In relationship to high school, no. But Little League and stuff like that for my kids, yes.
All right. Focusing on just high
Yeah.
school, that was it.
Yes.
When an individual is selected for, or steps up, if you will, to coach a high school sport, is that a paid position, like being a teacher, or is it a voluntary extra duty?
It's a paid position. It's actually in the teaching union as to what pay scale you're on. So you do receive your payment for that.
And is that payment separate and apart from one that you might otherwise receive for teaching classes?
Yes, separate payment.
And in order to become a coach, like, let's say I developed an interest in sports, which if anyone knows me knows that's never happening. But let's just suppose I wanted to become a coach. Is there a training program or some specific education that I need to receive in order to get the job?
There is. You just can't walk up and be a coach. When I first started, you had to have a first aid certificate.
A first aid certificate?
First aid certificate to the Red Cross. It was basically a training class you went to. And it was very helpful as a football coach in dealing with injuries. So you learn to stabilize things if someone broke their arm, stuff like that, put it in a sling. Very basic. It's progressed incredibly since 1989. And then in the early 2000s, it went to more of a online-based training program that you had to go through. The big course that anyone that wants to become a coach in Rhode Island has to go through is called the Fundamentals of Coaching.
And have you participated in that program?
I have.
And when would you say that took place?
I would say, to my best recollection, 2010.
Is that the kind of thing that you do once, or is it like lawyers, we have to do this annual education?
The Fundamentals of Coaching is a one-time thing, and then there are other things you do yearly.
To what, like recertify or keep up with
Yes.
it?
Primarily, concussions are a big thing now in high school sports. So the concussion, every year you have to recertify in it, pass the test. There is another one, I believe it's called it's a heart condition, a sudden heart condition that they now have a training for, that you must take the course online and pass the test, as well as other things like defibrillator training is now required.
Aside from the first aid training, the fundamentals of coaching online courses, and the yearly training regarding concussions, the heart awareness situation, and the defibrillator. Any other trainings that you've had to undergo in order to be a coach?
I think that's it.
And you've undergone all of those?
Yes.
We're going to spend a lot more time on talking about your testing program in sort of part two of our presentation to the jury, but let me just ask this now up front. Did you ever receive any specific training with regard to administering body fat testing?
No.
Did you ever receive any certification with regard to body fat testing or body mass index testing?
No.